She's the only one who makes us proud. I read my mother's comment under my sister Brooke's Paris send-off photo, while a single candle melted on my 30th birthday cupcake. I'm Ashley, 30, and on the day I hoped for a call, my family gave me silence and a public coronation for the golden child. The worst part? My parents paid for her surprise trip with money from our family account, the account I'd been quietly fed for years. That sentence hits harder than any forgotten birthday. It said what they'd always hinted. I was tolerated, not celebrated. But they forgot one thing. I know where every dollar came from. Mine. And this time, I wasn't going to keep paying to be invisible. Have you ever realized you are financing your own erasure? Tell me in the comments what you would do if your parents used your money to crown the favorite. That night, after blowing out that lonely candle, I couldn't sleep. The words kept echoing in my head. She's the only one who makes us proud. It wasn't just a comment. It was a confession. Proof that every quiet suspicion I'd carried since childhood was real. Growing up, Brooke was the sun, and I was the shadow cast behind her. She got the new clothes, the private dance lessons, the endless applause. When she stumbled, my parents caught her before she hit the ground. When I succeeded, they barely looked up. Straight A's earned me a nod. Her C- got her a pep talk and a new tablet. It didn't end with childhood. When Dad got sick 6 years ago, I thought I could finally make them proud by helping. I'd just landed my first solid sales job, so I set up automatic transfers, $500 a month into our joint family account. I told myself it was for emergencies, for medical bills, for love. But love shouldn't feel like a transaction that never clears. Year after year, I sent that money, scraping by on leftovers while they lived comfortably. They never said thank you, not once. And when I brought it up during Thanksgiving 2 years ago, Mom just smiled. "Oh, that's sweet of you, Ashley, but we're fine." Fine. They were more than fine. I found out just how fine the night I checked the account. A $4,000 payment to a travel agency, $2,500 to a boutique, and then a $10,000 gift transfer to Brooke's account. My hands trembled on the keyboard. 6 years, $36,000. All of it funneled to her while I skipped vacations, skipped dinners out, skipped living. I stared at my reflection in the dark screen. Tired, small, invisible. And for the first time, I asked myself, what would they do if I disappeared? Would they even notice? The answer came in silence. So I made a different choice. If they could ignore me while taking what was mine, then maybe it was time I stopped giving them that power. That night, something inside me cracked, and in the quiet that followed, something else began to wake. Over the next few days, the realization grew more pronounced. Every time I opened my laptop, the bank balance taunted me. $36,000 of my hard work was turning into someone else's vacation fund. I tried to let go, tried to tell myself I was overreacting. But then I heard my mother's voice in my head again. "You're the only one we're proud of." That was the last straw. It took 3 days for me to quietly transfer the money back, withdrawing it in small amounts without raising any red flags. Each transfer felt like an act of rebellion, a silent declaration that I still existed. When the last dollar hit my account, I breathed a sigh of relief for the first time in years. I hadn't stolen. I was taking back what was mine. At first, guilt crept in. I woke up at 3 a.m., staring at the ceiling, wondering if I'd gone too far. But then I remembered the invisible years, the birthday calls that never came, the way they bragged about Brooke's accomplishments while pretending mine didn't exist, and the guilt faded. A few days later, Brooke called from Paris, her voice bright and carefree. "Ashley, my gosh, this city is amazing. Mom and Dad are so generous. You wouldn't believe it." My stomach twisted. "Sounds good," I said curtly. "Are you okay? You sound weird." "I'm fine, just busy." I wanted to thank you." she said. I know you helped Mom and Dad, and I'm sure that's part of the reason they were able to do this for me. So, thank you. I almost laughed. She had no idea she was thanking me for funding her luxury trip. Don't worry about it, I said, my voice cold. You're the best sister ever, she added before hanging up. I stared at the phone, then tossed it across the room. Brooke wasn't cruel, just uncaring. She'd been raised to believe that everything good in life belonged to her. I didn't even blame her anymore. I blamed the people who made her that way. That night, I sat at the kitchen table again, the same place where I'd eaten my lonely cupcake. But this time, I wasn't sad. I was tired of being small. I started looking for ways to rebuild my life, not to prove anything to them, but to myself. I found an ad for a medical billing certification course, 6 months, $8,000 up front. It had been impossible before, but now I had the means. I signed up that night. For the first time, I invested in myself. 2 weeks later, the phone rang. My dad's voice was tense. Ashley, we need to talk. There's been a mistake. Over $30,000 missing from the account. No, I said quietly. I withdrew the money. What? It's my money. I got it back. He paused, then said, It's for emergencies. We're counting on it. Emergencies? I repeated. Like a trip to Paris? Different. Brooke needs a break. And I need a family to take care of me. I hung up before he could answer. My hands were shaking, but this time not from guilt. It was adrenaline, power. For the first time in my life, I said no, and meant no. The fallout was swift. Within an hour, my mother's name appeared on my phone. When I answered, her voice was like a knife cutting through glass. How could you do this to us, Ashley? We trusted you. I laughed bitterly. You trusted me? You took advantage of me. We're not lying, she snapped. We just didn't think you'd make such a big deal out of it. A big deal? Mom, it's $36,000. Money I gave you because I thought you needed it. You spent it all on Brooke. Your mother has been through a lot, she said defensively. She needs our support. And you don't? My voice choked. Have you ever supported me? Silence. Then the line hung up. I stood there, phone still in hand, waiting for the guilt to consume me. But it didn't. Instead, there was a cold, clear calm. Like after a storm, everything was stripped bare. From that day on, everything changed. My mother stopped calling. My father's texts were short and formal. Mom, think again. We're disappointed. Families help each other. But I did. I would give it all. The medical billing course became my refuge. Every night after work, I sat in class taking notes, determined to build something of my own. The first night I walked in, I felt like an imposter. The second week, I felt alive. There were people like me there, people trying to start over. One woman, Patricia, a single mother in her 40s, became my rock. Over cheap coffee and long study sessions, we told each other stories of exhaustion, frustration, survival. When I finally told her about the money, she just shook her head. They taught me to believe I owed them, she said. You don't. Her words were profound. At work, my coworker Vanessa noticed the change. You're different, she said over lunch. More strict. I'm trying, I told her. I finally stopped waiting for them to see me. She smiled. Good. You don't need their approval. You just need your own. But letting go wasn't easy. Every time my phone rang with an unknown number, my stomach churned. When Brooke returned from Paris, she called relentlessly. Finally, I picked up. What the hell is going on? She demanded. They said you took money out of their account. It's your money, I said evenly. But they needed it. No, Brooke, they used it to take me to Paris. She caught her breath. I didn't know that. Of course you didn't. You never knew. Her voice softened. I'm sorry. I didn't realize. It doesn't matter anymore. Just enjoy life, Brooke. That's what you're good at. I hung up and blocked her number. That night, I stared at myself in the mirror. The woman staring back didn't look weak anymore. Her eyes were sharp, and for the first time, I didn't look away. Days passed, then weeks. My parents' silence was long, heavy, and thoughtful. Then one morning, I opened my email. The subject line read, "We need to talk about this situation." The message inside made my blood boil. They called me selfish, accused me of ruining Brooke's trip, demanded that I return the money immediately and apologize. Sorry. I texted back with shaking hands. Mom, I don't owe you an apology or the money. I gave it to you sincerely, believing you needed it. You used it to make me disappear. I don't want to be invisible anymore. I hit send, and this time, I didn't feel guilty at all. 2 days later, my phone rang again. Ashley, my father's voice said quietly. Please, don't hang up. I hesitated. What do you want? I want to talk, not argue, just talk. For a moment, I almost hung up, but something in his voice stopped me. Your mom's email was wrong, he said. I told her that. But you have to understand, that money, we had plans for it. Plans that didn't include me. I shot back. It's not that simple. Actually, Dad, it is. You took my money, gave it to Brooke, and forgot my birthday. There's nothing complicated about that, he sighed. We didn't forget. Your mom was just busy getting Brooke to the airport. I laughed bitterly. That's worse, Dad. You chose her over me again, just like always. She needs more support. She's not as stable as you are. There it was, the old excuse, the same one I'd heard my whole life. Brooke needed more. Brooke deserved more. Brooke was fragile. And I'm what, Dad? Your backup plan? The reliable disappointment? He said nothing. I'm done, I said finally. I took my money back, and I'm using it to build something for myself. If that makes me selfish, so be it. Then I hung up and blocked his number. Each time I stood up for myself, it got easier. The guilt was still there, but smaller now, drowned out by relief. Weeks passed. I focused on school, on work, on my own quiet transformation. Then Brooke texted from a new number. Ashley, I didn't know they used your money. I'm so sorry. Please talk to me. For the first time, I didn't respond with anger. I typed back, I need space. Maybe someday, but not now. And I meant it. 3 months later, my instructor Diane pulled me aside after class. Ashley, you're one of the best students in this program. There's a position opening at VCU Health's billing department. I'd like to recommend you. For a second, I couldn't speak. Are you serious? Absolutely. You've earned it. I walked out of class that night feeling lighter than air. For once, my future didn't depend on anyone's approval. It was mine. The interview went better than I ever imagined. The hiring manager smiled and said, We're offering $75,000 a year to start. Full benefits. $75,000, nearly double my current salary. I wanted to cry. That works for me, I managed to say. When I left the hospital, my phone was buzzing. 6 missed calls from Mom, 3 from Dad. I ignored them. That night, Vanessa took me out to celebrate. You did this, Ash, she said, raising her glass. No one else. For the first time in years, I believed her. But peace didn't last long. The next morning, an email from my mom appeared. Emergency. Dad had lost his job. They might lose the house. We need that money back, she wrote. This isn't a request. My chest tightened. Old habits tugged at me. The urge to fix, to rescue. But Vanessa's voice echoed in my head. You are not their safety net. So I wrote back, Mom, I'm sorry for what you're going through, but I can't help. I gave you $36,000, and you used it on things that weren't emergencies. I have my own life now. Maybe talk to Brooke. I hit send, turned off my phone, and let the silence settle. For once, the silence was peace, not punishment. 3 days later, Caroline called. I'd gotten the job. I sank to the floor, tears streaming down my face. Happy tears, cleansing tears. For years, I'd been fighting to be seen. Now, I didn't need anyone's permission to shine. Patricia was the first to know. You did it, Ashley, she cried. This is your new beginning. And it was. The hospital job changed everything. I built a life filled with people who valued me, not for what I gave, but for who I was. Brooke and I slowly rebuilt our relationship, cautiously but honestly. She apologized, truly this time, and began standing up to our parents herself. As for Mom and Dad, they tried reaching out, the same old mix of guilt and excuses. But I'd learned to recognize manipulation disguised as love. I didn't respond. The next time they posted about family loyalty online, I didn't flinch. I'd already told my truth, and that was enough. Months later, my dad called again, not to ask for money, but to apologize. A real apology, one that didn't demand anything in return. And for the first time, I felt something close to forgiveness, not for them, but for myself. Because the truth is, withdrawing that money wasn't revenge. It was survival. I'd spent my whole life financing my own erasure, paying to stay invisible. Not anymore. Now, I wake up grateful. I work hard, laugh louder, love deeper. I no longer chase approval from people who can't give it. I build my own peace, one choice at a time. Sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's living well, thriving loudly, and refusing to dim your light for anyone. So tell me, have you ever stopped chasing someone's love and started choosing your own? Because that's where freedom begins.